very often they are not aware of their own requirements. And so being able to pull them up and show them what the requirements are. We've talked multiple employees through how to fly with a gun. Not in a combative way. They were very nice. They just didn't know.
Oh, there's been some combative ones.
Well, that's also
Looking at you,
true.
American Airlines.
You need a shot timer because that which gets measured gets worked on. The Range Tech Timer is the official timer of active self-protection because it is versatile, reliable, feature-rich, and very economical. Check out all it can do at the link below.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Suck Less Saturday. I'm your host Neil here again with the boss Stephanie, and we are going to talk a little bit about how to suck less while you travel. All right, Steph. So it's the holiday season. People are getting ready to do some traveling. We're getting ready to do a little bit of traveling, and this is something that's kind of near and dear to you. We've talked about it a lot. Tell us a little bit about how we're going to suck less while we travel.
Yeah, traveling comes with its own set of stressors, particularly if it's something that you don't do a lot. When you get kind of like we do and you're traveling a lot, that piece of it can kind of be second nature, but it's kind of mentally taxing, emotionally taxing, even physically taxing. And so sometimes I note that a lot of people leave the defensive ideas at home. They're not bringing their tools with them, kind of shutting off mentally. And while I want to encourage you to go places and do things and live a full life, even if that means you have to leave your defensive stuff at home, I'm not saying don't go places if you can't bring your gun. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is just with a little bit of effort, you can put some things in place that'll help you suck a little less while you're traveling and be a lot safer. So we wanted to talk about that. Driving, I think, is pretty easy. If you're driving or traveling somewhere, I think the biggest thing is you just have to be familiar with laws in your state regarding whatever tools that you are bringing, that you're transporting through states safely, and that just requires education and planning.
Yep. Yeah, there's some great apps out there that'll talk about how you can travel through their states. And we're talking about, I mean, you should know the states of the laws of your own state for sure, right?
Right. You shouldn't have to look those up.
But if you're going to travel through a state that you don't spend a lot of time in, you should probably spend a little bit of time. I know FLP has some stuff on that.
If you're an FLP member, their app has some stuff. Legal Heat's another great app. Handgunlaw.us, which is not an app, but you can just go online to find it, has fantastic, and they're all updated very well, up to the minute information. You need to look about staying there. You need to look about carrying, whether or not your licenses are accurate or recognized in those states. Storage, whether or not you have to talk to police. It sounds like a lot, but really there's just a few things that you really need to know. And most of those sites give you that stuff in a very digestible, quick look format.
Yeah, it's a 2-minute deal. This is not an hours long kind of project.
And remember, as you are traveling, that you are following the laws of that state regarding any uses of force or anything like that. Something that might be easy peasy in your state, or a knife in particular. Knife laws are so much worse than gun laws, very difficult to understand. Just because something works in your state doesn't mean it'll work in the next one, and you have to follow the laws of the state that you're traveling to. I would also just suggest, look ahead to where you're staying. If you're staying in someone's home, we always bring, we have to bring a lockbox because usually we're traveling and flying anyway. So a hard-sided locking case that we can keep our things in and limit access, whether we're in a hotel or whether we're staying in some other family's home. We have a way to keep our tools from unauthorized access.
Right. And if you are the host and people are coming to your house,
we also
have
we have a lot of safes in our
we have a safe in our guest bedroom that the guest gets to reset the code to, and that way they can keep their stuff safe and out of harm's way as well, or out of the reach of anybody that shouldn't be touching that stuff.
Like my children.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think to some extent that the driving is fairly easy. All of those things apply when you are flying somewhere, but dealing with your airlines and the TSA adds a layer of complication. Guns are actually fairly simple. We've done a ton of videos, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on that. There are a few states that you can't really possess a gun in, like New Jersey and things like that are a little bit more difficult. Just don't fly there. That's for the most part, they're very simple. Even places like California, very, very, very simple. Just know the laws again of where you're going, and if you can possess a gun there and take a gun there, then you're golden. It's usually very simple. You need it in a hard-sided case that you can't get into, that locks, and that you have possession of the non-TSA key for. Show up with them unloaded. They'll want to label it. I would suggest, if you're going to do this, to make sure that you're aware of not only the TSA regulations, but also the specific airline regulations, particularly regarding ammunition. Very often they are not aware of their own requirements. And so being able to pull them up and show them what the requirements are. We've talked multiple employees through how to fly with a gun, not in a combative way. They were very nice. They just didn't know.
Oh, there's been some combative ones.
Well, that's also
Looking at you,
true.
American Airlines.
That is also true. But if you're very confident, and I always have screenshots of the airline and the TSA regulations so that you can try to communicate through these things very simply. But for that part, flying with a gun really isn't nearly as complicated as most people think it is.
It's not. The challenge that I have seen lately with the pandemic and the masks, it's harder to communicate with them folks and to get a read on them.
Great point.
If you walk in there and you're aggressive and you turn combative, they're going to meet you in kind. So walk in there, understand what the rules are, have it on your phone or on a printout. 99 out of 100 times there is no trouble.
Right.
If you can smile and happy and say, listen, here's the rules. I do this all the time. Or I watch Neil on a video. He does it all the time. Walk in, the guns are unloaded. Ammo in an original box.
Usually in the original box.
With some places you can have mags stuffed. Frankly, it's easier if you just don't. Just unload your mags. That way you're going to avoid the fight that you don't need to have anyway. For the most part, it's going to get you right through there. Once in a while, you're going to get a ticket agent that says, hey, I need to confirm that that's unloaded. I just signed a piece of paper that says it's unloaded with the tune of a $10,000 fine if it's not. So you can tell them that, but tell them that politely.
And if they want to confirm that it's unloaded, they need to get some law enforcement over there to do it. Do not pick up a gun in an airport.
Ooh, no.
And start.
So here's the words, and this is from my good friend Logan. Logan said, if they really want to check that, you say, listen, I'm happy to have somebody check that, but I want a sworn law enforcement officer to come do it. That way they understand that, listen, I'm not going to pick that thing up. And I've been asked at least a dozen times over the last 5 years, I need you to pick that up and rack the slide. And I'm like, I am not touching that thing here because there's
And we
50.
never have done it, and they've never brought law enforcement over.
No.
It's been the end of it. They somehow then intuit that it is empty by looking at it, and then we're able to
Some of those ticket agents have X-ray vision. They can literally see right into the gun. So
Another point that's interesting to know is that the guns are not allowed at the airport behind the security. So in the ticketing area and in your baggage claim area, you may carry guns and possess guns. So lots of people that I know have a system to where they're able to get their stuff together and get their guns on at the airport. I fly a lot. I fly a lot at night and have to walk out into parking lots and things like this. To me, particularly if the airline has gone against all sense and legal precedent and labeled your gun in some way or bag in some way that has a gun in it, and then I have to walk through a dark parking lot, I'm not doing that. So be prepared to potentially have a way to tool up. If you need to. The bathroom is a great place to do that if you felt like you needed to do it. Neil loves when I do this, but it's not a secure area. Also, that is where you really need to be a little bit more heads up in an airport where the attacks and stuff have taken place are in the security areas where you haven't quite gotten through to the secure piece. The other piece is all of your other stuff, like the first aid and OC. I want to talk about OC and then I'll let you talk about first aid. OC is pepper spray. And while you can usually just go to a Walmart and buy a new pepper spray if you need to when you get to your location, and you can, and generally decent brands are available if you know what to look for. My favorite brands aren't available. There's no guarantee. Sometimes they're expired. Sometimes they don't have really great delivery systems or something less optimal. So there's a couple of options. One, you can mail something ahead of you. So if you're going to a family's house, you can just hop on to the Palm website maybe and send some Palm Industries spicy treats to your location and receive them there. And then you don't need to travel with your OC. The other thing that's important to know, there's not an airline that I am aware of that will let you take OC into your luggage or your checked bag. Obviously, you can't take it at all in your carry-ons or on your person, but the airlines is all against their regulation to have it in their checked bag. Interestingly, the TSA has zero problem with it in your checked bag. So basically, you're playing a game of you don't really want the ticket agent to know that it's in your bag. It's cheap enough. If they do, you can throw it away and just be like, okay, my bad, and then you don't have it. But generally what I do is I will put my container into a Ziploc bag and seal it. The reason I do that is if something weird happens and it starts leaking out and you start having some sort of pepper spray cloud out in a plane and they have to divert it and they're able to prove it was your bag and your problem that started it, you're going to be charged
Guess
for that.
who's on the no-fly list?
Guess who's in trouble and probably going to have to pay a big fine and potentially for some of those expenses. You're going to be scaring people. Don't do that. Put it in a bag. And then if you see it was damaged and leaked, it was contained in that bag. Very, very simple. I just put it in a plastic bag and put it with underneath all of my other stuff. I'm not worried about the TSA finding it because it's fine. It's not against their regulations. I just don't want the ticket agent to see it, and I have to open my bag because it has a firearm in it. So I have to open my bag and show them. So that's actually very simple to fly with. And again, if you put it in a place that you can access it, you can get that fairly quickly out of baggage claim. And even if you're not able to get a gun together and into a holster and loaded, because that's a lot, actually. I say it jokingly, like it's an expected thing, but trying to load magazines in a bathroom stall and get everything safely onto you is hard. But if I can at least get my OC out of my bag and get that on me, that's easy to do discreetly. It's a very effective for most of the threats that you're going to face. I think it's a super idea. It's easy to throw away if you have to. If they find it and they don't want you to have it, you can toss it. It's $15. If you don't want to travel back with it for whatever reason, you're not worried about getting to your car and then getting home, you can leave it with your guests. Or if you have flown, if you've mailed some to you, again, that's another great thing to leave with wherever you're staying for the next person to grab. You want to talk about first aid stuff really quick? Flashlights and shears?
So the interesting thing is that, we typically wear an ankle cuff for our everyday medical stuff. John and I do, and I know a lot of folks do. You go to Mountain Man Medical, you can get our brand of those and actually go support some cool charities.
Girls have purses. So we just put them right in the purses. But we don't have pockets, but we do have purses.
But flying with my ankle cuff is such a piece of cake. Now, the one challenge that I've ever had, and the one that John has had as well, is with the Raptor
the big
shears.
Yeah, the big scissors, if you're not familiar with what that is, for cutting off bandages or seatbelts or clothing or any of these things.
So you can pick up a really cheap pair of shears for about $6, probably even less. And that's what I use when I'm traveling. I put that thing in there. I take that thing off my ankle. It goes through the machine. They never ask a question about it. I've never, ever been asked about anything other than the shearers. And that was when I had the Raptors.
And the shears are, whether they're the $6 cheap ones or the very expensive ones, they fit within the guidelines that you are able to fly with them. It's not that they're not. It's just that sometimes you'll run into someone that just isn't having it.
I mean, the TSA has a JV team too, right? That don't understand all of the rules as well. So just be prepared for that. I would just say if you've got a $70 set of Raptors, leave them home if you're going to travel with something different.
And we should probably clarify, we're talking about carrying on to the plane.
Yeah,
we're not talking about,
right
these go right through security. So this, you can take off your ankle at security and put on in. Obviously, you can pack it in your bag easily, but these can go on the plane with you, and it's a great idea.
And so what John does is he puts his Raptors in his checked bag with his firearm and all of that kind of stuff, so then he can switch it when he gets there. I don't go through that much trouble. I just carry with the regular
and he's
stuff.
got the $100 Raptors that he doesn't want to lose.
Now,
so he does that.
Now, where I do get questioned a lot is my flashlight. I've got, which I don't have on with you right now. Great job, Neil. But I've got the stiletto that clips. It's got the little clip that clips onto my pants, and I take that with me just about everywhere I go. If I walk out of the house, I've got a flashlight. These old eyes don't see the way they used to, and a little bit of light makes life a whole lot better. Every time I put that thing in the tub to go through the TSA, I get asked, "What? You can't fly?" They'll say something to the effect of, "You can't fly with that," and I'm like, "It's a flashlight." And every time they pick it up and they're like, "Oh, wow, this is really cool." And then I put it back and then I fly with it. So so just be prepared for that. We don't have to fight with those guys. And in a lot of cases, I've literally had TSA guys ask me, "Hey, can I take a picture of this because I want to order one?"
Yeah, especially particularly the stiletto is a different shape. It's a flat.
It resembles a pocket knife.
Yes, it looks more like that. So sometimes just that communication, showing them what it is, because there is no issue with taking a flashlight on the plane. And again, not that you're dealing with a ton of like plane crashes and worst case scenarios, but there's all kinds of little mechanical things, or losing electricity, just going around dark parking lots, even when everything goes fantastic, that a flashlight is a fantastic tool. Your first aid kit, again, fantastic tools. These are things you can take with you throughout the entire trip. Other things need to be in the checked bag, but I think they're worth it and can really help you suck less and be a little safer while you're traveling. I didn't think about an assignment. No, I did. Here's your assignment. I did have one. Where is the place that you go to a lot? Research the laws and the regulations at that place that can help you better prepare, so it's very easy to travel there. If you're constantly traveling to see your family in California, figure out what that means, what it looks like legally, and what you can do to better prepare yourself to keep yourself and your family safe.
There you go.